control, I'll do Nettie. Are you gonna have self-control?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah.
Okay, well then we'll go with Nettie. Nettie, can I get your age for TikTok?
Yeah, I'm 20.
You're 20, okay. And are you a Christian?
No.
What is your belief then?
Yeah, well, I don't think abortion is murder at all.
Okay. Mm. So I would assume you're pro-choice on 9 months.
Yeah, no, not all 9 months. I don't know where you got that inference from. I'm not all 9 months, but
Well,
I do
because
have a
you just
cutoff.
stated that abortion is not murder. So then,
That's not a universal statement. That's not to say that some forms of abortion aren't. That's just to say that the majority of them aren't. I don't know where that assertion came from. The assertion that abortion is not murder is not always universal.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then what do you believe in? What is your cutoff?
I'd say probably around 10 to 14 weeks. Maybe it could be extended to 2024. Doesn't really matter as long as it conserves the majority of abortions. Then the pro-choice thesis is maintained.
Okay, so then what is the difference between, or what gives the baby more value after 14 weeks than the baby
Yeah,
beneath
it's the
14 weeks?
capacity for participation in certain intellectual virtue.
Okay, so then are you against somebody pulling the plug?
Depends if the patient has the capacity for participation of intellectual virtue, then sure. If not, then no. Not particularly, but I don't make considerations universally. I always assess the context, so it depends on the particular case. If you can give a case and that case is then absurd, then I'll concede my position, but I don't think you can construct a case in which the condition I just gave you would lead to absurdity.
Well, I feel like you wouldn't concede to any of my points because I'm a believer in God and everything I found is with God. And since you're not a believer, you would see everything that I believe in my stance as super crazy and unreasonable.
You could just justify either A, the existence of God, or B, if you want to talk about Christian ethics, we could just talk about Christian ethics. But if they're grounded in God, then maybe it's just more important to talk about God in the first place.
Hey, I would just I want to say something. I'm not gonna stay long. I promised Chicken that I'd come by. Brother, please, for the love of God, take some time. I know this fight's important, but you have another fight that's just as important, man. Get
I
off
know,
and take some time. Get off and take some time, man.
I know, brother, but I'm okay. He's okay. He's home. God's blessed him. It's all right now, and he's
Okay.
peacefully
Okay,
asleep.
I saw you up here, dude. I'm just making sure because I've been sitting here worried.
No, it's okay, man. I'll fill you in if you want to like shoot me your number, I'll shoot you mine, and then we can talk about it. But I
Yeah.
appreciate you,
No,
man.
no, we're all good. I just wanted to make sure you were good. Tiff, I hope you're good too.
You too. It's good to see you.
What about me?
You too.
I don't
You
know who
too.
you are.
I don't
All right,
either, but I'll figure
base.
it out.
Love you, man.
All right.
So go ahead, Nitty.
Yeah, so as I was saying, if you just want to talk about justifying the existence of God to some capacity, we could do that. If you think your ethics all just bottom out in appealing to that which God says is true, then we could just talk about if God exists or not. Or I could actually give you an argument that proves, or not proves, but shows that God likely doesn't exist.
I would love to hear your argument, actually.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so my argument just stems from the way in which we do epistemic evaluation. I think that the particular way by which we evaluate things in the epistemic domain is evidence in favor of the fact that God doesn't exist. The argument is something like this. If infinitism is true, God likely doesn't exist. Infinitism is true, therefore God doesn't likely exist. The reason it's likely that if infinitism is true, then God doesn't exist is because if the way that we evaluate things in the epistemic domain is reduced to an infinite chain of non-repeating inferential reasons, then there's no particular foundation, or I guess you could say dogmatic foundation, that you would have to appeal to. And if there isn't, and if we should avoid arbitrariness when we do epistemic evaluation, and infinitism is the correct answer towards evaluating things epistemically, or in regards to justification and the structure of reasons, then it seems that God doesn't exist. Because if it weren't the case, and if it were true that God exists, then we don't need an infinite chain of inferential reasons. We could just appeal to the reasons that are true of given God, and we don't need to talk about an infinite chain of reasons. But if it is the case that in order to treat epistemic issues that we require an infinite chain of inferential reasons that are non-repeating, then it seems God doesn't exist.
Just because you can't see it, you don't believe it.
That's not what I said at all.
Well, I'm asking you because I'm not understanding, and maybe I'm not meant to understand stupidity. But
What I said was stupid?
yeah, man, you're denying your creator. God says within the Bible
You have an
that
argument for what I said
he's
being stupid?
written in all of our hearts. Yeah, so
Okay.
um so do you believe in the Big Bang Theory?
I'm agnostic.
And his argument.
Like literally just 5. Can you repeat 5 things that I said during my argument?
Well, like I said, I didn't understand it because it didn't make sense to me.
Okay, but that's assuming that it was stupid, right? You just said perhaps I'm not meant to understand
But
stupidity.
I'm saying that you denying God's existence is foolish. It is
Wait, but the reasoning, you didn't even track the reasoning, but you're saying that it was foolish?
Yeah, I just said because the Bible says only a foolish person says that there's no
You know it's
God.
question begging, right?
Hold on. No, it is not, because I just
You don't
told
know what question begging is?
Well, I just told you that everything.
Sorry,
I
what is
say
question begging?
Fill me in.
Oh, okay, so you deny doing it, but you don't even know what it is. That makes a lot of sense. Okay,
Well,
so
because I'm giving you. I'm not.
wait, why'd
I'm
you
not-
deny doing it if you don't know what it is? Imagine I told you threw a rock at someone, but you don't even know what it
Okay,
means
hold
to throw a
on.
rock
When
at
you
someone.
ask a question, you need to let the person answer.
What question did I ask?
You just said what is question begging.
Okay, and
how
did you
are
give an
gonna
answer?
How are you going to deny question begging if you don't even know what it is?
Correct.
So
How are you
asked me
going to do
2
so?
questions, and you're not letting me answer. So therefore,
You told me to
let
tell you what it
answer.
is.
And then you just told me, and then you said, "How are you going to use it?"
Wait, I told you what it was. What did I say?
You just said, "If how are you going to deny it?" If
I told you what question begging was? When? No, I didn't. You're lying. I never told you what question begging was.
Hey,
Lying is a
Nettie.
sin.
Crazy work. Yeah, what's up?
What do you mean by infinitism?
Infinitism is a theory about the structure of reasons.
It's a theory about structure of reasons.
Yes, of course.
Okay. What can you explain to me the structure? What do you mean by the structure of reasons?
Yeah, so there's a particular way in which reasons are structured, okay? And so there's typically a few main options. There's foundationalism, coherentism, infinitism. Infinitism is a theory that says the reasons are structured such that there's an infinite chain of non-repeating inferential reasons, okay? So it is attempting to adjudicate what that structure is specifically, and it's saying that that structure bottoms out in being an infinite chain of inferential reasons that don't repeat themselves.
Okay. Can you slow down a little bit? I just got over a cold.
Oh, yeah, sure, no problem. My bad. So it's a view on the structure of reasons, and the structure of reasons is essentially talking about the way in which reasons, okay, or things that count in favor of, they're talking about the way in which those are formatted. So the format here is being expressed by an infinite chain of non-repeating inferential reasons. That's what the infinitist thesis is saying. And the argument was that if infinitism is true, God likely doesn't exist. Infinitism is true, therefore God likely doesn't exist.
Okay. So the infinite chain of let's see here. You said infinite chain of non-repeating inferentials. Am I saying that correctly, or
Non-repeating inferential reasons, yeah.
okay, non-inferential okay.
No, non-repeating and inferential reasons.
Okay, yeah. Non-repeating inferential reasons, okay.
Yep.
So can you either define or give me an example of a non-repeating inferential reason?
Yeah, no problem. So let's say I have a belief, right? That belief is simply just there seems to be there is a chair in front of me, okay? Now, I could have a reason. I could say, okay, the reason I believe that there's a chair in front of me is because I'm seeing the fact that there's a chair in front of me. Okay, why am I seeing that there's a chair in front of me? And why does it, reliably track reality such that I can form that belief? I could give reason 2, okay, reason 2. My perception typically leads me to that which is true, okay, or leads me to form beliefs that are typically true. So that would be 2 different reasons that are not repeating on which I make inferences in order to go from the belief to have a reason that supports that belief, and then a reason all the way, so on and so forth. So it would just be a reason is that which counts in favor of a belief or explains a belief, okay? And if it were the case that a reason were non-repeating, it just means that to the prior reasons within the chain, this reason is not a repeat of one of those reasons.
Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong. This sounds a lot like the infinite regression of knowledge.
Yeah, of course, but it's attempting this, well, not knowledge, this is about justification, but what it's attempting to say is that that is actually something that is conducive to epistemic evaluation and not harmful. So the view is saying, you take one of the horns, or quote unquote horns of a groupist trilemma, and you want to say that It's actually an explanation for justification, and it's not harmful for epistemic evaluation.
Okay, so instead of an infinite regression of knowledge, it's just an infinite regression of justifications.
Yeah, for justification. For
Oh.
reasons, particularly.
Okay. So yeah, so it's just essentially replacing knowledge with justification. Okay. Okay. Um. That's a new one. Yeah, I haven't heard this argument before. So would you say like this is a transcendental argument of sorts?
Depends on what you mean by that. I don't know if you use the same. I don't know if you'd use the same semantic reduction of transcendental there, but perhaps depends on what you mean.
Yeah, I've heard this guy like try to make a mockery of the transcendental argument for God, and he calls it Tang, which is like
it's actually an argument against that.
an argument against the
Yeah,
transcendental
tag.
argument for no God.
No. Well, okay. Well, you know how people run Tagger? They're presuppositionalists for God, like they say.
Quick. I want to give a fair chance to everybody. Adrian, so Nettie, thank you for coming up. You can come back up after we're done with the next two guests, and then we can finish our conversation.
Why did the other
Don't
guests
you
get
feel
all the
like-
time? Hold on,
don't
wait.
you feel like that's
Why did the other
non-linear?
wait, wait, wait. Why did the other guests get way more time than me? It seems
No,
that I
sir,
got like 5 or
I've
6
given
minutes.
15 minutes. I've given 15
That's
minutes
wrong.
for everybody. I've watched.
Secret got like at least 25, and the person before that
no,
also.
sir.
But
They
okay.
got 15.
You can watch the live recording back. I also didn't get 15. I got about 7.
No, sir. You've been here for about 15 minutes. It tells me
You
on
can
my
check.
thing when I
Okay.
click on your name.
Okay. You can go check your live recording, or maybe you're just being intentionally dishonest. I don't know.
No, sir. I'm not.
Well, you clearly have a reason to be intentionally dishonest
Okay,
in this
sir.
case.
You stay blessed. Like I said, you can request back up. I just want to give a fair chance to everybody on panel.